2 years ago, I woke up to the sound of rain on a thatched roof. It was our third day in Africa, and the experience was nothing short of incredible. I saw kids come to know the Lord at soccer clinics. I saw pastors being equipped to lead churches. I saw incredible life change. But as I found myself back on a plane headed back to the US a couple of weeks later, I felt this sinking feeling like my ministry was over, at least until I could get back home, get through school, and maybe start a nonprofit or get on staff at a church. And I think a lot of us have that misconception. We equate doing something meaningful for the Lord to vocational ministry. And if we allow that misconception to prevail, we miss the opportunity to experience purpose in other areas of our life. I I think if I asked a question right now, I said, "Hey, would you please raise your hand if you want to waste your life?" I don't think anyone's hand would go up because we all crave purpose. We all crave to do something meaningful. We crave to do something lasting. And there is so much value in working with a church on staff. There's value in starting a nonprofit. There's value to going to the ends of the earth and sharing the gospel. But if we make, hey, a meaningful life is vocational ministry, we miss the chance to be deployed by God in all areas, even the secular workplace. And actually, a secular workplace can be ministry if you use your time, your talents, and your treasures there for the sake of the gospel. And if you turn that workplace into a mission field. First, a secular job gives you the opportunity to leverage your treasures, your finances, and your position. I think of my dad, who is a pilot. But the reason I was able to take that trip to Zambia 2 years ago is because he and people like him donated. They gave of their hard earned money to send me to Zambia. I see donors in our church giving so much to host college weekends, to host Disciple Now. Someone just took the bill for 50 large pizzas for our college night the other night, and it was such a blessing. It's so cool to see people who are not on staff at church give of their finances in a way that blesses so many people. Second, a secular job also gives you a chance to give of your professional talents. Wycliffe Bible Translators is currently translating the gospel from a print version into a sign language version for people who can't hear. And a woman named Becca Kuhn just wrote an article back in 2017, sharing how they're using technology to track the movements of the sign language interpreter's hands and put that on the face of an avatar. So first, they can protect the identity of the person signing in case they're in a hostile country, but it also allows them to interpret more sections of scripture at one time. And that would be impossible without the computer engineers, the software developers who made that happen. They're using their talents in a way that's advancing the gospel. I think of our tech team here at Watermark. Those guys and gals have jobs of their own, but they sacrifice of their time every Tuesday night to make sure that we're able to hear the speaker. And they also take that message, the message of the gospel, and transmit that across the country and across the world to countries like the UK and Moldova and South Africa, so that those people there are enjoying the same gospel message that we're experiencing here. Third, a secular job can open doors that someone working in ministry might not have. For example, Cauldron and others wrote an article about doctors who are forgoing their paycheck for a few weeks, buying a plane ticket and going off to third world countries to administer medical aid to people who wouldn't otherwise have it. They're guys who are, people who are sacrificing their time and their talents to go and help other people in need and use that as an avenue to share the gospel. A young woman named Britt Powell wrote an article for the International Mission Board explaining how she quit her 9 to 5 here in the States, packed up her laptop, and moved her graphic design business to Prague. And the reason she was able to go to Prague and stay there with her husband was because she had a business trade license. She had a visa that she was only able to get because she was a businesswoman. But while she was there, she engaged with her neighbors and her community for the sake of the gospel and just called other people to meet this God that she knew. And finally, a secular job gives you the opportunity to grow closer to the Lord. I just took a job at Apple not too long ago. Um, I was working at a church before, but I've learned so much at this workplace, learning things about conflict resolution and working with excellence in a way that makes people ask, who is she working for? And then I get to tell them. Um, I've been able to engage with coworkers and tell them about God, to invite them into the church that I go to. JP, our pastor here, said something that stuck with me. He said, hey, I get to preach to thousands of people on a Sunday, but I can't go behind the closed walls at your work. JP can't go into the Apple break room, but I can, and I can engage with people there. In conclusion, a job in the secular workplace is a ministry if you leverage your time, your talents, and your treasure. It opens doors. It's a way to get to know your Lord better and a way to introduce other people to Him. And I look around this room and I'm so excited because I don't know what the Lord has in store for y'all. I don't know where He's going to have you deployed, whether that's at church or in the classroom or in the courtroom or at a nonprofit or maybe on the other side of the globe. I don't know, but He does. And I know it's like a really stressful time right now. You're trying to figure out what you're going to go to college for or what you're going to do after college. And it feels like there's so much pressure, but I would just encourage you to bring the Lord in on that because He's got a plan. He knows what He's doing. And whether He calls you into vocational ministry or something entirely different, He's got an incredible purpose for your life. Don't miss it.